Hello guys, welcome to my new video, and today we'll be looking at some of the healer meta in raids and Mythic Plus and heroic raids and Mythic raids. This is going to be a video that I'm going to be doing for a lot of other roles as well, mainly because of one thing: corruption vendors available, and all of a sudden certain classes that can really benefit from stacking stat amps or getting certain corruptions like ineffable and trying to get like 300% or something. Some of these classes are getting insanely good benefit, and it's kind of shifting the meta in their favor, and certain classes are kind of losing out. So I decided to look at healers first and decided to look at raiding healer performance at this point. Then we'll look at Mythic Plus and we'll look at some of the corruptions, what each healer is stacking in terms of corruptions and how it's affecting their behavior or their performance in raids and Mythic Plus. So first of all, let's go and get started with some of the raid logs. So a big disclaimer before I'm going to go through all this. This video is going to include information for healers that are coming to the game right now, and they're looking to pick up certain healers. And honestly, just playing any healer that you find really interesting is going to be the way to go. But I also want to talk about some of the healers that are performing really well in high-end content. And raiding is kind of a bit weird because right now a lot of the bosses are nerfed. A lot of the gear that you get in terms of the DPS boost makes bosses a lot easier. So if you are progressing mythic content right now, I still stand by my predictions that I did like months before 8.3 came out and things like that, that Holy Paladin, Discipline Priest and Resto Shaman are arguably the best combo for mythic progression Ny'alotha. But with a big disclaimer that with the nerfs that happen to the raid, all of a sudden you don't need that passive DPS that Holy Paladin provides, that damage reduction that the Discipline Priest provides. You don't really need those, they're very helpful, but at this point I feel like any healer can be used in progression. It is a big difference between when 8.3 first launched with like double Paladin, Discipline Priest and Resto Shaman, and most of the people were running that setup. That was like the biz setup in raids. You don't need to do that anymore, so keep this in mind. But generally speaking, this is the HPS logs for Mythic Ny'alotha in terms of what's happening with the corruption stack. And keep in mind the biz corruptions or the healers that were looking to stack their corruptions, it's available for all of them. So Holy Paladin was stacking Ineffable Truth both in Mythic Plus and Raids. Holy Priest was stacking a bit of Ineffable Truth as well, and it kind of, you can see that they're doing really, really well. Discipline Priest was stacking a good bit of, or a mixture of, severe crit and haste. A lot of the Discipline Priests right now are running a good, or kind of a decent balance of stats, or mainly looking at crit and haste to a certain extent. Resto Druids in a lot of ways were going all expedient, so that means they were running like 50, 60, 70% haste in raid situations and Mythic Plus, and Resto Shamans and Mistweavers kind of got their biz corruption available this week with severe, so a lot of the Resto Shamans are running a lot of crit, a lot of Mistweavers are running a lot of crit as well. To some extent you could be stacking Verse for a Mistweaver and Shaman, but stacking versatility is a lot harder because keep in mind, your neck, your cloak doesn't have versatility. Your trinket, there's not many versatility trinkets available. There's not many versatility Azeroth trades available and things like that. So generally speaking, if you're going to go a stat amp route, you want to get all of your gear with that stat. And versatility is a bit harder than stacking crit, for example, because crit has things like Swirling Sands and things like that. You have, conch trinket. So all of a sudden, if you have those pieces of Resto Shaman, stacking crit is going to be really, really, really good. So what's happening? Holy Paladins are doing really well. Ineffable stacking has been extremely potent for Holy Paladins. How much Ineffable do you want to get? Honestly, at this point, I'm going to be experimenting with a full stack of Ineffable. We're going like 200 plus. I've been running around 6 tier 1s for a good bit, and I've been finding a decent response. In terms of fun, Holy Paladins have been really, really fun because Ineffable kind of brought in a new playstyle where if you're Ineffable procs and you have wings available, you can do Holy Shock, Holy Shock, Holy Shock, Holy Shock type of gameplay without using Crusader Strike. So this has made you like a sniper type of healer, and it's really goddamn fun. It's one of the most fun healers at this given point, but a big disclaimer, if you're a new healer coming into this game and you're like, I can't wait to try Holy Paladin, this is gonna be so fun. It is probably the most gear dependent healer at this given point. You need 3 Glimmer of Light traits, you need a ton of Ineffable to really get the true power of Holy Paladin. Keep this in mind. And then you saw Holy Priest, again, it's a big differentiation. You see Holy Priest being second here in HPS, but if you actually look at the participation kills, let's say we go to Ny'alotha. If you're looking to progress Mythic Ny'alotha, you can see here in terms of parses, it's all dominated by Holy Paladins, Resto Shamans, and Discipline Priest. This trio of healers is the best in terms of progression content. This is used by most of the guilds in Mythic raiding, and you cannot go wrong with this. You have your Holy Paladin with passive DPS, damage reduction, devotion aura. You have Restoration Shaman with Spirit Link, really good. Windrush is insanely strong in a lot of Ny'alotha. Then you have Discipline Priest with passive DPS and barrier and things like that. So all of a sudden, if you're doing Mythic raid progress, you cannot go wrong with those 3 healers. But if you already completed the progress and you're kind of just looking to meme and, you know, get good logs, honestly, Ineffable Truth Holy Paladin is really busted right now. You see Discipline Priest here as well. Holy Priest here doing pretty well in terms of pure HPS. Resto Druid has been doing a lot better with expedient stacking. So if you stack an insane amount of expedient, they're doing pretty well. And I feel like Resto Shaman and Mistweaver are falling behind, but we need to give some time because Severe was only available for this reset. So I feel Resto Shamans and Mistweavers are gonna catch up eventually at some point because they only got their biz corruption at this point. Go and have a look at the heroic raid logs, and this is why I want to mention heroic. This is the heroic right now, is because not everyone's going to be doing Mythic. Maybe new healers are coming into this game and they just want to progress heroic content. Is there a best healer for heroic? Honestly, and I kind of say this enough, play whatever healer you find the most interesting in heroic content. It really doesn't matter. But you can see Holy Priest here is really kind of dominating, and there's a reason for that. There's more. Holy Priest can be very snipey type of healer. It's very reactive type of healer. You have proactive healers like Restoration Druids and Discipline Priest. It makes sense that these are bottom. By proactive healer, I mean you need to start ramping up like 10 seconds before damage is incoming. Not every healer is gonna know when the damage is going to be incoming. So if Resto Druid damage happens and you're like, okay, I'm applying my rejuvenations right now, you've lost. You lost a lot of HPS, or someone might have died or whatever. If you're a Discipline Priest, damage happened and you're like, okay, I'm just about to apply my Radiances now, you lost. It's just not the way to play these two healers. You need to ramp up like 10-15 seconds before the actual damage happens. On the other side of that, you have Holy Priest and Holy Paladin. These are reactive healers. Damage happens, you heal. So this is the reason why in a lot of heroic content, you'll start seeing that these two healers are doing really well. I feel Mistweaver is going to climb a bit more. Maybe Resto Shaman is going to climb a bit more. But if you want to just play a healer, this is going to be advice to new healers coming to the game who are just looking to look good on the meters, who are looking to try out healing for the first time. They don't care about progression all that much. Holy Priest is one of the best raid healers in the game right now for a new beginner. It is it is like essential raid healer. He has so many AoE abilities. Their healing is so strong. A lot of their healing is coming from their mastery, which is a heal over time effect, which is kind of weird because you could argue the point that the best hot healer is Holy Priest and not a Resto Druid. But that's a bit weird because of the way their mastery has been made. But generally speaking, Holy Priest is gonna get you good HPS numbers with relatively not that much effort. And it's not gear dependent, you don't need triple Glimmer of Light. So these two healers, the top two healers right now in heroic content, are both stacking Ineffables. Ineffable Truth in order to reduce their cooldowns, get better cooldown recovery. So keep this in mind. So now let's go and look at the Mythic Plus and we'll talk about some of the summary of all the healers. So in terms of Mythic Plus, let's go look at the timed runs in Mythic Plus for 20 plus keys. Again, 20 plus keys, not everyone's going to be doing these, but this is where the class balance comes into effect. I would argue the point that 20s is quite low at this given point. 23, 24 keys is where you might start saying like, hey, I gotta bring a different healer, I can't do this or something like that, because I feel 20 is quite low at this point and they should add more to this. But generally speaking, Resto Druid, Holy Paladin, they're the kings right now. They've always been the kings, and there's a reason, because of Corruption Vendor. And Corruption Vendor has really kind of impacted the game or class balance in a negative way. And hear me out. Resto Druid now can stack Expedient. They can stack a single stat that's going to increase their haste by 50, 60, 70%, which means that the gameplay is going to be faster. If they go into kitty form, they get more energy regeneration, kitty form and things like that. The gameplay is going to be a lot more faster. Your global cooldown is going to be lower. You're going to benefit a lot from 20 corruption rank 3 expedient when you have like, I don't know, 30, 40, 50% haste. So all of a sudden, Resto Druid is a winner in terms of corruption. It's very, very good both in Mythic Plus and both in raids. Holy Paladin, in the same way, is a winner because of Ineffable. Ineffable is insanely strong because Holy Paladin true potential comes from their wings and Holy Avenger. If you can get those cooldowns up a lot more, you're going to be an insanely good healer in terms of pure DPS and healing. So all of a sudden, these two healers who were already top healers before 8.3 are only getting better with corruption stacking. While other healers, in a lot of extent, again, Mistweaver might be stacking. Again, Mistweavers are going to be using Fist Weaving build a lot of the times. Fist Weaving build has been nerfed in raids. It used to be insanely broken, and now I think in raids a lot of the monks are running with Upwelling build, and in Mythic Plus they're running Fist Weaving, Rising Mist build. Rising Mist build in terms of stat priority, a lot of the stats are kind of relatively equal, so you're not exactly sure what stat you want to really stack. There's just not a clear consensus on exactly what's going to be the OP build, if there is going to be an OP build. In the same way that Resto Shaman, honestly, Resto Shaman is the biggest loser in terms of corruption. Because Resto Shaman, and hear me out, and this makes me very, very sad, because Resto Shaman I felt should have been the winner. Resto Shaman is probably going to be stacking critical strike severes in raid situations, which means that you're going to be getting a lot of crits. Resurgence is going to give you some mana back. Again, it works well. Resto Shaman with crit is going to be really, really good. In Mythic Plus, you have to really consider, are you going to be running crit heavy build? Because you have to consider, you have Tidal Waves. Tidal Waves is going to increase your critical strike of Healing Surge. Healing Surge is your bread and butter. Tidal Waves is also going to be, Turn of the Tide Azeroth trait also works with Tidal Waves. Again, the 5% critical buff does not stack, but the increase to Healing Surge does stack. And a lot of people will be running or stacking Turn of the Tide Azeroth trait as Resto Shamans in Mythic Plus environment to increase their single target healing, because Resto Shamans lack single target healing. So all of a sudden your bread and butter Healing Surge is going to get extra crit from Tidal Waves, which is your core Resto Shaman mechanic, your Turn of the Tide 1 Azeroth trait, also Spirit of Preservation Essence, which is very, very mandatory for a lot of Resto Shamans, is also going to increase the critical strike chance of Healing Surge and the power of Healing Surge. So stacking more crit is not going to be that beneficial when your bread and butter ability Healing Surge is already being capped. To the same extent that your Flame Shock Lava Burst DPS component, which is greatly increased by Igneous Potential Azeroth trait, is also going to be always critting if the person has Flame Shock. So your two bread and butter components as Resto Shaman, in order to heal, Healing Surge, and in order to DPS, they don't benefit from crit as much as you would like. So all of a sudden, stacking versatility is going to be the way to go for Resto Shamans. So now as Resto Shaman, you have to make a decision whether I want to optimize my gear in Mythic Plus, where I'm going to be using versatility, or in raids where I'm going to be stacking crit. You could argue the point that stacking versatility in raids is also going to be beneficial, but like I mentioned, getting a lot of versatility is a lot harder than getting a lot of crit. Crit has Brightborn Infusion, Swirling Sands, and things like that. It has, again, critical strike is found on your neck, on your cloak, while versatility is a lot harder to come by. So this is why I say that Resto Shaman is one of the biggest losers in terms of corruption. They just don't have one clear winner for all of the content. So now let's go and look at some of the other balance in terms of Mythic Plus and just kind of finish up the video. There is a really nice website as well that I definitely recommend people to try out, and that is Mythic Plus Sub Creation. And this is going to give you like a tier list of classes based on the given week, and this is for the Tyrannical Bursting Skittish week, and this is giving you a tier list based on really high run keys. So this is the tier list for this week, and that is Resto Druid, Holy Paladin, Mistweaver Monk, Discipline Priest, Resto Shaman, and Holy Priest being bottom. And I feel like this could be applied to nearly every single affix at this given point. Resto Druids have been dominating in a lot of ways. Mistweaver is still there and you can make it work. I feel like Mistweaver is a very solid beginner's healers in raids and Mythic Plus. Upwelling build is relatively easy to play, while Rising Mist build is a lot harder, but it can give you a good benefit in terms of pure DPS. And I feel Discipline Priest and Resto Shaman have lost out a lot in Mythic Plus. This is what I'm going to recommend for a lot of new players. If you're a new player coming into this game and you really don't care about doing high-end Mythic raiding, but you really enjoy raids and you really want to do good HPS with a relatively easy class to play, Holy Priest is honestly one of the best picks in my opinion. Maybe Mistweaver is going to be somewhere in there as well, but Holy Priest is generally does not require, hear me out, easy to play, hard to master type of deal, but does not require a lot of learning in order to do well. Is not really that gear dependent. Ineffable Truth is going to help out, but Holy Priest is probably one of the best entry level raiding healing spec in this game right now. Now, if you're looking to progress Mythic raiding at this given point, like I mentioned before, you don't need a specific healing setup to do it, but generally speaking, Holy Paladin is doing still really well, and Discipline Priest is still doing really well in Mythic and raiding scene. Now, if you're a new healer that's looking to play Mythic Plus, only Mythic Plus at this point, that you're going to be poking scenarios, or you're basically going to be reliant on other people inviting you to their group, which means the community perception is going to be a thing. Believe me, it is a thing. When I tried to sign up as a Holy Priest on some Mythic Plus dungeons, people declined me a lot of the times. when you're trying to apply it on like a Holy Paladin or Resto Druid, it's a lot easier. So if you're trying to play a pugging healer for Mythic Plus with an option of climbing really, really high, I think Resto Druid is the best option. And the reason why I say Resto Druid and not Holy Paladin or even Mistweaver is like Resto Druid has so much utility at this given point that helps bugs. You have Bile Res, which believe me, can save or can prevent a lot of wipes, even though there's an engineering res. Engineering res is so clunky and sometimes even impossible to use. Resto Druid has things like pushback, has soothe, you have defensives in, you can go into bear form at any given time. You just have so much utility, and your healing is not based or derived from cooldowns. You just have good healing all the time, and you have good DPS all the time by just putting Sunfire. If you want to go into kid form, it's all up to you. So all of a sudden, Resto Druid, one of the utility kings and one of the pure healers that don't rely on cooldowns and can do healing no matter what. While Holy Paladin, again, is an insanely good healer in Mythic Plus, but Holy Paladin's power is coming from the cooldowns. But with the Ineffable Truth stacking, all of a sudden their uptime on wings is insane. So basically, again, I feel Resto Druid is a better entry-level healer, but Holy Paladin can be insane strong to the same extent that Mistweaver Monk as well can be used in a lot of keys. So this is my kind of summary. If you look at all of this data, and if you want to have one healer that's kind of the best overall for high-end everything, Holy Paladin, again, Glimmer and Ineffable has made Holy Paladin one of the best healers in Mythic rating, in Mythic Plus. It's just really, really fun. In terms of fun, honestly, Ineffable Truth Holy Paladin is so goddamn fun. I really recommend it. But if you're a new healer, keep in mind, 3 glimmers, a lot of Ineffable Truth, and then you'll be going nuts. One of the most gear dependent healers, but one of the most fun healers in my opinion. And otherwise, this has been my summary video of how Corruption Vendor has impacted healing balance. And if you look at it, it hasn't really impacted all that much. Holy Paladin has gained more, Resto Druid has gained a lot, while a lot of other healers like Holy Priest gained a lot in Mythic rating because of Ineffable Truth stacking. But generally speaking, Ineffable Truth hasn't really made them all that great in Mythic Plus. They need a complete rework in Shadowlands. So it is kind of sad to see that the classes deserved, or the classes that deserved some boost, like Resto Shamans and Discipline Priests in Mythic Plus, didn't really receive anything because how they interact with Corruption is not comparable to something like a Holy Paladin with Ineffable Truth. So let me know how I feel about this Corruption Vendor. Let me know how I feel about the healer. What healer are you playing right now? How are you enjoying your healer? Which healers do you think you're going to be playing in Shadowlands? Let me know, guys, and I'll see you in my next guide.